going to march on Pfizer. We're going to go on the MIT Truth Freedom Health tour. How many of you guys are students here at MIT? Anyone? I want to thank the Cambridge police here for helping us clear the way. We're going to march over to Moderna and Pfizer. You're welcome to join us. We are in the center of what is known as the military-industrial academic complex. And many people are not aware that this place where it looks like there's a lot of abandoned buildings, because MIT frankly owns most of the real estate from here. We have people visiting us from Oregon, right? We have people visiting us from central Massachusetts. We want to thank the Cambridge Police for making this a safe tour. Thank you. Yeah. We want to thank the police for all the great efforts that they do and all the bullshit they have to deal with the elites in Massachusetts, trying to jabinate them. But what we're seeing here is MIT is the center of the military-industrial academic complex. MIT pays no taxes. How many people pay taxes here? Everyone pay taxes?
Yeah, I do.
You guys pay taxes? Yes, everyone pays taxes. I learned a lot. And one of the things I learned is that there's no more real science done at MIT anymore. MIT has become a place where it's pay-to-play science. It's pay-to-play science. They're not like most of the scientists at MIT are really prostitutes. I hate to say that. It's pay-to-play, right? They're not like working people over there who actually work for a living and do hard work. Most of the nerds at MIT, if you pay them enough, they will tell you that CO2 is going to destroy the earth. Fake science. You pay these nerds enough, they'll tell you that you need to all get vaccinated with the exact same vaccine. And that's what's happening. And the problem is many of the professors at MIT will not tell the truth. And we're going to talk more about it because we're going to be marching on to Pfizer up there. And it's unfortunate because many of the protest movements have mistakenly taken people over there across the river to the State House. The State House is where another set of puppets and prostitutes are, the politicians. But the reality is that the center of power is down there at Big Pharma, where Pfizer is, where Moderna is. And to those working people, whether you know it or not, we'll talk more about this. Pfizer today makes $65,000 per minute. Let me repeat that again.
10.
Pfizer makes $65,000 per minute, right? While the hardworking people over here doing construction, they're forcing them to... Yeah, there we go.
Working man, right there. Right after my own heart. God bless you.
So we're going to march on to Pfizer up the street. Moderna is up on the right. And the unfortunate thing is that you have join us. We have this unholy alliance. We have an unholy alliance. We have some fellow people joining us. You want to shut down Pfizer? Excellent.
Yeah.
Shut down Pfizer.
Hey, that a boy.
Come on in. Come on, right up front.
Jump in.
Jump on in. So, this movement for truth, freedom, and health is targeting the real enemy. The real enemy is racist Big Pharma, who attacks working people. Pfizer made $65,000 a minute. Right now, I think this march is going to be what, about, let's say 30 minutes? In the next 30 minutes, Pfizer will have made $1.8 million. Think about that. Pfizer will make $2 million by the time this march is over. Meanwhile, they are forcing working people to get jabbed without any real risk-benefit analysis. And what's really disgusting is when you look at these buildings around here, they're built by so-called scientists who have lost any sense of what the noble duty of science is. These people are actually prostitutes. That's what we have. the places like MIT and Harvard have actually become centers of prostitution. And those of you who are young scientists who work for these institutions need to recognize that you're actually not doing science if you don't tell the truth. Over there is a biology lab. In the last 5 years, billions of dollars have poured in here, and these institutions do not pay $1 penny in taxes. And yet, they look down upon working people. Think about that. The liberal elites in the 100-yard radius from where we are have a disdain for working people, don't they? They have massive disdain for working people. In fact, the MIT administration treats graduate students like shit. And what's really good to hear is MIT graduate students are actually organizing a union. Did you guys hear that? That's good. Right? Let's get some enthusiasm here, guys. Wake up.
Come on in.
All right. So.
Shiva, your mic.
Huh?
Your mic, distortion, yeah.
What's that?
Distortion, your mic.
Okay, sorry about that. Got a little bit of distortion. People complained last time that I had the mic way up into my mouth, so we got to watch that. Okay, I don't want to do a nasal swab here. But anyway, up on the right, we have the Whitehead Institute. Another institute to the right of us is the Broad Institute, which is where they do genomic mapping. In fact, the guy who started the Broad Institute got about $3 billion, and he went and told MIT, it's a true story, to the board of MIT, and he said, I'm going to get to run this the way I want to, or I'm going to take my billions, I'm going to run away. And MIT said, sure, do whatever the hell you want. You see, this institution and the 100-yard radius is where trillions of dollars flow through. Not billions, not millions, trillions. You get that? Trillions, trillions, trillions. And yet, for far too long, the movement for medical freedom has put all of its effort on state houses and city halls. That is not the enemy. The enemy is right here. So shortly, this is, by the way, the Truth Freedom and Health tour. There's no charge for this tour. It's all free. And it's a walking tour. Over on the left is what's called the Stata Center. That building has so many leaks in it that Frank Gehry, who's known as one of the great architects who built it, apparently the way he came up with the design for that building was he literally took a paper bag that he was making lunch with and he threw it on the ground, and that was the design, okay? There's a Gehry building up on the left. Everyone look at it. One of the great architects of our time. It's a paper bag design. And the number of leaks that building has, it's so bad that MIT went and sued Frank Gehry. Okay, but it's called the paper bag building on the left. The next building we have coming up is called the Picower building. That Madoff, you know that guy? Yeah. Who stole a bunch of people's money? Thank you, officer. We want to once again thank the Cambridge police officers for all the great work they do. But the Picower building that's coming up on the left was funded by Madoff, who made off with a lot of people's money. Yeah, he did. All right? So you can see the level of filth and prostitution that takes place right in this.
Mike.
Is that better?
Yep, please hold it.
Is that better, John?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Sound check?
Yep.
All right, so we have another organization coming up on our right as our tour of Kendall Square. It's called Fidelity, a multi-trillion-dollar organization. And you're going to see shortly that Fidelity is closely right next door to Moderna. Anyone know who Moderna is?
Yeah.
Who is Moderna?
Evil Empire.
Well, no, Moderna is an organization that sells the mRNA technology and without any type of risk-benefit analysis. By the way, here's a Madoff building that was funded by Madoff, and he made off with a lot of money. And apparently the whole Picower building was going to go out of business because he stole and took people's money. But that's the kind of organizations that MIT works with, right? we're coming over here to Fidelity, and shortly we'll come over to Moderna. And thereafter we'll be going on the tour to the next organization called Pfizer. How are you guys doing? We got some excellent journalists on the right here, filming. It's a very cold day, but we're out here. We have welders, teachers, healthcare workers, truck drivers, project managers, personal trainers. And we want to thank all of you out there who are struggling with the fact that while the elites go play in St. Bart's on their private planes, all of us are being locked down for no reason. And when I say no reason, there is no reason to give everyone the exact same vaccine. One-size-fits-all medicine is anti-science. One size fits all medicine is anti-science. They're doing that to our first responders, trying to shut them down. They're doing that to young kids. And by the way, over on our right, you will see is a Moderna building. John, let's just, on our walking tour here of the Military Industrial Academic Complex, you will see over there. Is that Moderna over there? Yes, you can see their sign. But this is a walking tour of Cambridge. Moderna's right there. Pfizer used to be there. This is Catalyst right here, where all the VCs hang out and do all their deal making. Good restaurant, but not the kind of people I like to hang out with. Okay? Good people who make great food there, the working people, but not the kind of people we like to hang out with over here. But Moderna's right there. If you see it, everyone's saying it. We have people from Vermont, we have people from Oregon who've come down. Let's keep going down. But one of the main reasons in doing this is to educate people where the real center of power is. And this is just the beginning, and every Thursday, every month, at 12 noon, we'll be growing this movement. How you doing? All right. Over here is known as Technology Square. And you notice there's massive amounts of construction going on in this 1 mile radius. Billions and billions of dollars, trillions are flowing into this area. We're going to be coming up to Pfizer shortly on the left side. You're welcome to join us. Come on, join us.
Her son's sleeping in the car.
What's that?
Her son's sleeping in the car.
Okay.
He'll be all right.
You'll be all right.
Your mic.
All right, is that better, John?
Yep.
We have a wonderful pizza restaurant coming up here. We'll perhaps come there and get some pizza afterwards. Support the local businesses who are being shut down by Pfizer. So what's going on is one set of businesses, Pfizer made $81 billion. Did you know that? 81 billion. Meanwhile, waiters and waitresses and chefs and working people's businesses have been shut down. So we're going to come up to Pfizer. Across the street over there is the MIT Plasma Center nuclear reactor. Seriously, there's a nuclear reactor right in Cambridge. And let's take to the street over here, John. How'd we get on the sidewalk? Let's go over there.
Yeah, we went over to check out Moderna.
Okay. We went over to check out Moderna, but we'll be back taking to the streets.
Yeah.
And we'll head over to Pfizer. And then we'll start our speeches over there. Thank you, officers. But upcoming on the left, that big building right there, John, you can see it over there, is Pfizer. That's Pfizer. So most of Big Pharma, Novartis, Pfizer, are all moving into Cambridge. So you get a good view up here. Just look back and you'll see the immense amount of big tech power here. You have Google, you got Facebook, you got Pfizer. Who else do we have? Moderna, etc. John, I think you should start.
Fidelity.
Yep. Start the stream.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
Is he live?
Yep.
We live?
Yep.
When did you go live?
He went right away.
Huh?
He went right away. He didn't.
Where? Back there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we're live. Everyone say hi to everyone on social media. All right. Truth, Freedom, and Health. So, here are a lot of working people here. So we're going to come up to Pfizer over here, and I'll say a few words, and we have words from Kristen, Trisha, and from Vermont we have someone, Tom Sullivan, a special guest. But now I just want you to turn around, John. Look at the camera there. On the left you have Pfizer, and on the right you have the projects. Okay? This is the racism of Big Pharma. What the real racism is that the elites pit poor blacks against poor whites and want us all fighting against each other while they're raping all of us. That's what's actually going on. So Pfizer's up on the left, and I think we're going to pull over. What should we do? Huh? Okay, we're going to go over to the right.
We're going to go with the working people.
Yeah. We're going to be on the side of everyday working people over there. Thank you, officers. Once again, we want to thank the Cambridge Police who are giving us an excellent escort right up over here. Let's go up on the sidewalk over there, John, so people get an idea of the contradiction here. So right there is Pfizer. Right there, John, you can zoom in over there. So we have over here, John, go over there. Okay. You want me to go that way? John, where do you want to go? Yeah. So hold on, everyone. We're going to just set up here. You guys want to come up behind?
Sure.
Yeah.
You get this so it's not blocked by this car.
Yeah. John, Jerry, you want to face this way.
Okay.
So I just want to share with people the contradiction here. Is that all right?
Yeah, hold it away.
So what you see there's Pfizer. John, you just want to give people a scene over there. And you see over there is Moderna, the Picower Institute, Mass General. This is the center of the healthcare, military, industrial, academic complex. And over here, we have the projects. All right? And these are hardworking people here who have struggled most of their lives. And over here, you have a multi-trillion-dollar organization known as Pfizer. So, what's that, John?
Your mic. Just keep whenever.
Right there?
Yep.
Okay. So let me begin. I'm going to say a few words, and we have a bunch of great working people going to speak. Why are we here? Why are we here, guys?
Workers unite. Show them out of the deep state.
Right. The reason we're here is if you look at the United States right now and the world, what's happened to the United States is there's been a complete destruction of the First Amendment. The First Amendment has been wiped out. If you say anything on social media against the jab, you will be thrown off social media, right? If you say anything about issues with election fraud or election systems integrity, you'll be thrown off social media.
Yep.
Right? Two of the most important things of our times, health and freedom. If you express your views, you're off. And that's what's been going on in this country. And where did that start? Where did that attack on free speech start? It started down the street over there at another place called Harvard. Harvard created the domestic censorship infrastructure in this country. Our lawsuit filed in federal court exposed that. Our lawsuit exposed the fact that in the United States, we do not have the First Amendment. We showed that there is an unholy alliance between the government of the United States and Twitter and Facebook, right? And all the social media companies, and all of them are here. Twitter's over there. That's Twitter's office right over there. Google's office is down over there, and Facebook's office is over there. Do you see the collusion here?
Yeah.
It's in a less than a 1 mile radius. You have Moderna, Pfizer, Novartis, MIT, MGH, the Reagan Institute, Facebook, Google, etc. What a cozy alliance So if I, as an MIT PhD, want to expose something that's wrong, thank you, that's wrong with something that's against science, you'll be thrown off. So we don't have freedom. That's why our t-shirt says freedom. We have to win back freedom. Because without freedom, you can't get to something even more important called truth, science. We no longer, these institutions, these professors, unfortunately, a lot of them, starting in 1970, no longer actually are incentivized to do real science. Frankly, very, very mediocre people now become tenured professors at MIT. The really good guys are thrown out. So what you have is you have a bunch of prostitutes who work as professors at MIT, pay to play science. So you attack freedom and you attack science, so you can't get to truth. And the end result of it is we're destroying people's health. This is the first generation where the lifespan of this generation is less than the previous lifespan. We know that when it comes to the Jabines, as I like to call them, the Jabinations, that there was no real risk assessment studies done. And how was that done? It was done because of the cozy relationship between the people right here at MIT and government. Fauci controls billions of dollars of NIH funding. These prostitute professors and scientists at MIT will never say anything against any of these interventions because they will lose their funding. You see how that works? And they train the young graduate students to also be prostitutes. And that's probably, unfortunately, it's probably the best word I can define. Prostitution is what we're talking about. The real prostitutes are not those poor people who have to do whatever to make money, because at least you can argue they have some, right? But these people who get billions in stock options, hundreds of millions of dollars, are the real prostitutes. So these institutions are factories of prostitution. They take young graduate students, make them become prostitutes to do science that is really not based on the scientific method anymore. So what I want to do is I have a couple of people I want to bring up, but today is a beginning of moving our anger away from the prostitutes across the river, who are the politicians who have actually no power. You pay them enough money, they'll pass a bill. You pay the judges off, they'll do whatever the hell they want. The real enemies of people is right here in Kendall Square, right?
Yeah.
The real enemies of people are, I'm giving you the longitude and the latitude of the deep state. It is Kendall Square, Massachusetts. And we better get this clear, because these people are printing money right now. $65,000 per minute in profit is what Moderna and Pfizer are making. So let me bring one of our speakers over here, Teresa, come on over here. And then we have, go ahead. Yeah, you want to keep it around there?
Hello.
You want to look that way? Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna like.
I'll hold it for you.
All right, I got it. So, as a small business owner in Massachusetts, I am sick and tired of the lies and the untruths that are being permeated through our society and here locally as well as globally. Like many people here, or maybe not, we're in Cambridge. I believe that Donald Trump would be our savior, would revive our country and save it. Unfortunately, that is not the case. At first, he was claiming that the China virus, which is from China, as we all know, was a hoax. But then he got into bed with Big Pharma and has approved Operation Warp Speed. And so this is the reason why we're here today. Trump is part of the swamp. I also see what Robert Kennedy Jr. is doing to promote his own agenda of power, profit, and control by writing a book that truly exposes his hypocrisy. At one time, he was against vaccines, claiming they were causing autism in children. And now he claims he is for them, that all of his 6 children are vaccinated. So what's going on right now? When the pandemic hit in 2020, I knew that deep down inside, like many of my fellow citizens around the country, this is wrong. Something deeper is going on, and we need to do and know more. I asked myself, why is this happening, and how are we letting it happen? I had heard about Truth, Freedom, and Health when Dr.SHIVA was running against the fake Indian Elizabeth Warren for Senate. From then on, I became involved with this movement for truth, freedom, and health because as time was passing along, as well as this pandemic, here we are going into 2 years of the pandemic, I knew that I, along with other like-minded individuals, had to be a catalyst for change. So now is the time to become part of the movement for everyday working people. It is about you, the politicians, the celebrities, Big Pharma, the elites. Don't give a shit about you. It's about you being educated and not conforming to ill-conceived policies and mandates that are not there to help you or protect you, but rather to enslave you. So be the light, seek the truth. Go to truthfreedomandhealth.com and join us. Stand up for your constitutional rights, Americans. Thank you.
Good job. All right. Our next speaker that we have, that's wonderful. So Teresa is a small business owner. By the way, everyone that you see who came out today on this very cold day, everyone works for a living. This is not the Children's Health Defense Fund with Bobby Kennedy sitting in Malibu, okay? It's not what this is. And as Teresa said, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a scumbag. And it's a technical term, by the way. Why do we say that? Because he's been misleading the movement for years. He continually tells people that he's pro-vaccine, and then he tells people he's anti-vaccine, and then he endorses Hillary Clinton 3 times, who is basically vaccine queen. And then he recently had an event at his home where he said everyone had to be locked down before they came into his home, which means vaccinated. And then he tells that his wife told him to send out that invitation. So this guy's a complete screwball, and those people want to follow him and think they're going to build a movement on that, need to reassess their own self on the fact that they like to be lied to and abused, and they're okay with contradictions. Our movement will not give 1 inch to people like this. Not 1 inch, right? So we're gonna have Kristen come up here, Kristen Falvey, who's a healthcare worker, and Kristen's gonna say her piece on this. Here we go, Kristen.
Thanks. Thank you, Dr. Shiva. Thank you, fellow workers, for coming out today. And I think probably a lot of our warriors across the world are watching either right now or will be later. So as an American also standing in front of Pfizer, I want to thank everybody around the globe right now who's fighting for what a lot of you are calling medical freedom, but it's really, we're all fighting for freedom right now, for truth, freedom, and health. So I want to start off just by letting you know a little bit about me. I'm a healthcare worker. I currently work as a community health worker, and what that means is I advocate for people in my community. And what's going on right now, or what had started going on with the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. They were unable to pay their rent. The children were now at home because the schools had shut down. So you have people who are already struggling, barely making minimum wage, that rely on the public school system. They're having their children home. So a lot of people were struggling. As this is happening, money's getting poured into different benefits like food stamps, things like that. Fast forward here, all this money that's coming in through this coronavirus, you guys can look it up. There's a ton of money being funneled into pretty much every field, whether it's education, healthcare, you name it. But once they take this funding, it's not getting down to the people. Right now, it's been homelessness forever, but it's getting to a point where people like myself who work in human services, we work with people that are struggling, and we don't even make a living wage. We're facing things like eviction, even though we literally are out here helping people with the same issues. So, right now we're all fighting against this vaccine mandate because people are losing their jobs. But tomorrow it's going to be another thing. I have managed to hang on to my job, but it doesn't matter. We do not make a living wage. They're placating us with things like raising the minimum wage. Okay, but at the same time, the rest of us can't afford to live. So I'm part of this movement because I do believe in truth, freedom, and health. I'm here to say that, I do want to call out RFK Jr. also. He just came out with this book. I forget what it's called.
The real Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, he's calling it the real Anthony Fauci. I just want to let you all know that I met Dr. Shiva probably, I think it was like around March 2020 was when Dr. Shiva started exposing Anthony Fauci. It was very refreshing to me when the pandemic hit. Actually, Anthony Fauci graduated from my alma mater.
Really?
Yes, Holy Cross College in Worcester, Massachusetts. So he's like a savior over there. And I find it very ironic and ridiculous as a biology major at Holy Cross, where I learned the scientific method. I had brushed off my old books and I said, this is a joke. This is not the scientific method. He's saying we all need to be wearing masks. We all need to lock down. I'm like, frankly, I'm embarrassed, to say I went to this school. This is a joke. And I majored in the same thing. And I found Shiva, and he's actually calling it out. So I know I'm speaking a long time. I could go on forever. But the bottom line is, guys, we need to unite working people. RFK Jr., he's just co-opting the movement. You can look into it. Go to rfkjrexposed.com. Just be smart. And just remember that the only way we're going to do anything about this is when we stand up and say no and look to each other for help. Don't feel like you need to join some movement and go to beg at the State House for crumbs. Call out these scumbags here at Pfizer, these scumbags here at Moderna and everywhere else. Thank you for letting me speak, and just keep up the fight, guys, and don't back down ever.
Woo! That's right. Yeah.
So, thank you, Kristen. So, by the way, people who came here came from different parts of Massachusetts. We have some people who've come from all the way from Oregon who flew in. Heather Burden, who's a teacher. But I want to introduce Tom Sullivan. Tom's a telephone worker.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? He took off from work on his own time. Robert F. Kennedy wants you to freaking pay him a first-class ticket. And then he comes out. But Tom is here. And Tom's one of our movement people. And as I hand off to Tom, to some of the people listening out here, we're in the center of science and technology. We want to point out to people that anyone who tells you that, we're pro-science and that's how we came to it is lying to you. The development of the mRNA vaccine is not based on any type of risk-benefit analysis, and it violates the fundamental principle of the biological sciences, which is emerging, which is the right medicine for the right person at the right time. We're supposed to talk about personalized and precision medicine. We're here in Cambridge, where all the mayors, or the mayor here, talks about inclusivity, how you doing? And diversity. Yet, they do not want to acknowledge the diversity of biological systems. Right? Everyone has a unique biological system. To say that everyone should get the exact same intervention is anti-science. So I want everyone to understand that these people are not scientists. They're anti-scientists. They're prostitutes. So let me give you Tom Sullivan, and Tom will give you his journey, and he's he nails it, and you're talking about a working person here. Thanks, Tom. Here you go.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Shiva. I came from Vermont. It's not that cold out. I started off as a working person right out of high school, working for the telephone company. And I learned very young that racism does in fact exist. And what we see here with the projects here and Pfizer over here, it really shows you that infrastructure is what's needed. Now, when I worked for the telephone company, telephone exchanges crossed over city boundaries. And I would work in Brookline, which had the wealthiest people in America. Okay, all the CEOs lived in Brookline. And I would travel down to the other end of town and go into Mission Hill. And in Mission Hill, you had the high-rise projects, okay? And when I went to serve the people, the CEOs from Pfizer, they treated me like a servant. They looked down on you. And then I would go into the projects as a young 20-something-year-old kid, and they treated you with dignity and respect, right? They were real people. They were working class people. They were poor people, right? And then when I moved to Vermont, I started serving all the CEOs in their vacation homes, right? In their 300-acre estates. And they would talk to me like I was one of them. Maybe because I was fixing their services or because I could talk nice and talk about the issues of the day. But I can tell you this, they don't care about you. They don't care about your children. And they don't care that if you're stuck with the crumbs left by them, okay? They're the ones that have the freedom. They're the ones that have the trust funds. And we as working people got to realize that. They don't care about you. They don't care about your children. Only you will care about you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. So, thanks, that was excellent. So, come on over here, Tom. So, as Tom, by the way, Tom is potentially, Tom's going to run for governor in Vermont. All right? So, everyone should recognize, but we're talking about him running as a part of a movement.
That's it.
Right? We know elections are selections. Elections are selections. Pfizer chooses who wins an election.
That's right.
Let me repeat that. Elections are selections. Pfizer chooses who wins an election. Pfizer made, to give you the numbers. Are they looking at? Oh, they're looking up over there. Some of them. Good. Some of the lab people are listening, but unfortunately, they're just the unfortunate souls who are pay to play. But Pfizer was losing money. All the pharmaceutical companies have been losing money. Top line revenue. Pfizer, case in point, in 2010, they made $65 billion in revenue. In 2020, how much revenue did Pfizer make? $41 billion. They've lost $25 billion in revenue. The pharmaceutical companies have been losing revenue. Why? Because their drug development model is an utter failure. It has been blowing up in their face. And this trillion-dollar industry is crashing and burning. So what was their savior? The vaccines. So think about this. Pfizer lost $25 billion in 10 years. In the last 3 months, Pfizer has made $25 billion. So in 1 quarter of 2021, Pfizer has made $25 billion in 1 quarter. And in all of 2021, they made $81 billion. The news media will unfortunately not talk about this because they too are prostitutes of Big Pharma. Okay? So no one's talking about this. So while the first responders are being told to get jabbed, otherwise they'll lose their jobs, while young kids are being told to get jabbed when there's no risk-benefit analysis on that. In fact, it doesn't even fit in the Jacobson model of why the smallpox vaccine was given, the justification. Pfizer just made $81 billion. $81 billion. And meanwhile, people like Kristen, working people, are looking at getting evicted. And that's why the contradiction of John just points here. Here you have the projects. Everyone see here, the projects. And there you have Pfizer. So those people up there who are making about $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year in salary, by the way, look across these projects. And I'm not sure what goes on in their minds. This is, when I grew up in India, this is what it was like. You would walk, you'd see skyscrapers, and you'd see people shitting on the streets. And that is what America is becoming. And it is incredible that those people over there who talk about diversity and wanting to help black people, frankly, a lot of people who look like Elizabeth Warren, the liberal bourgeois elites, are the biggest exploiters of the planet right now. They say one thing and they do another. Robert Kennedy's an example of that. Unfortunately, many of us who voted for Donald Trump realize he's part of that. Donald Trump wants people to embrace the vaccine because never did anything to Fauci, never did anything to Hillary Clinton, and all of the establishment is one. The only way forward is for working people to unite. And that is why we say truth, freedom, and health. 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 Truth,
freedom, and health.
Truth, freedom, and health. Truth, freedom, and health.
truth, freedom, and health. Truth, freedom, and health. Truth, freedom, and health. Truth, freedom, and health. Truth, freedom, and health. Truth, freedom, and health. Truth. John, point over to Pfizer. That organization doesn't care about truth, freedom, and health. They care about power, profit, and control. And as Tom was saying, these same people go up to Vermont, hang out, and exploit the people of Vermont. And it's time we realize that this is about working people uniting. We're not going to unite with everyone on the sake of some false unity. It is going to be working people uniting and putting the fear of God in people like that. And we will be coming back again and again and again. And those of you who think that the establishment and the enemy is in the offices of judges or in the offices of politicians, you got it wrong. This is where people need to show up. Right here. Right here, right into the heart of the liberal contradictions and the elites. This is where we need to come back, and this is where we need to wage war. Right here. Truth, freedom, and health. I want to thank everyone. John, is there anything else we need to talk about? Anything else? All right, everyone, we'll be back here again and again and again and again and again. Thank you, everyone. Be well. Excellent.